So yeah, let's continue to unpack our reflections on what it has been like post initial submissions to the MOAM through this reimagining project. What feels different for you now? You know, what are things that are staying with you as you think about the continuation of racial equity work at MAPC, creativity at MAPC, the culture shifting at MAPC?
So there are structures in place that do not serve us any longer, and we can think of what those structures are. And in reimagining the region is helping me think of what can be different, how that structure can be different. Is that structure actually in our society, actually in the greater Boston area? Is it needed? Is there a better way to approach it, a better way around it? And I know I'm being cryptic, but hopefully it's can be edited out later. So it has me thinking about the structures of public safety and policing, and how that can be changed in itself. And is that a structure that's even necessary? Like, how can we reimagine what that really is? Like, really think about it, pick it apart, reimagine what public safety and what police departments are supposed to do. And reimagining the region is all like, it's helped me thought about what can we actually do? What is really necessary? What is serving everybody and what is just serving 1%?
Yeah, and I will just note for folks that MAPC does staff the Greater Boston Police Council through our Municipal Collaboration Department. That's one direct way in which we are a part of the public safety community.
Yeah, I think on this question of like, what are the structures that we're actually like interrogating, trying to dismantle through this project, for me, it is that what you just said, Patrice, and also connected to like what participation means. And I think we touched on this a little earlier in the conversation and talked about it a lot as we were working on the project too. Like, what are we actually asking people to do in the context of, a visioning process, a public meeting, anything where we are asking people to participate in our processes? What is that in service of? Who is actually designing those processes in the first place? What are we doing with those, with that information? Like, how does it serve people, not just serve us? What does it mean to have reciprocity in planning? And maybe to think beyond like participation or rethink participation at the very least. I think it was around the time that maybe we wrapped up this project when I read this interview transcript or conversation between two planners and advocates, Tamika Butler and Justin Garrett Moore, who were talking about participation and the emotional labor that it requires, especially for people of color, and how that then plays out, especially in kind of planning work, community development work. So yeah, that is like a kind of pressing question that I'm continuing to take with me. Yeah, what does it really mean to kind of dismantle how we think about participatory planning, which I feel like was kind of a buzzword for a while, and critically interrogating that and who it serves, I think, is really important.
And I'll say that one thing that this project did allow us to do too is like reflect on like what can be done in work, like at work, because we sometimes we think like being creative or sharing like our authentic self at work is not completely appropriate. Like I have that thought, and I have this imposter syndrome thing that I'm like dealing with and trying to grasp with being a person of color at MAPC at times. And I think like this project allowed me to do some reflection and some work around that. And I think like it's a good use of time and a good use of agency capital. And I think it's like gets the agency to think about like what is the work a little bit more so than we like how it has been historically done So I'm happy that the agency made space and made room for us to do this as staff. And I think like it's benefited me, and I know it's benefited some other folks who took part in this project. And it's a hard thing to measure, but I'm hoping like we can document some things that can show the benefit of such a project at our agency. And I think it'll have some external impacts too, especially if we continue to devote resources and time to it.
Yes, definitely committed to that. I'm committed to that. And yeah, appreciating all of you for being honest and vulnerable in this conversation, and to be continued. All right, see you all soon.